By a show of fingers, who's concerned about the situation at America's southern border? Show of fingers, who's concerned about the situation at America's southern border? Just one of you, Maddie. Maddie, what's concerning to you?
Well, I volunteer with the Red Cross, and it's the lack of security for the people. They're crossing over. They're getting hurt. They're famished. They're dehydrated. It's 100-degree weather. You know, it's the danger that they have to go through to get over here, and then they get over here. You know, nobody. A lot of the people are not being hospitable. You know, and giving them the water or the medical attention. They want to take them straight to ICE or immigration first, and no, medical attention first. Then we just have, let bygones of whatever has to be done, but let's give them at least the medical attention. And that's the only thing that I don't like.
Okay.
And I guess I agree with Maddie on that. I am concerned about how the people are being treated.
Okay.
Especially the children.
Especially the kids.
So, Joshua, why are you not concerned about the situation at America's southern border?
I mean, I live in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, so I don't really see it every day. You can only read about it so much. I mean, I'm concerned about how the increase in migration numbers, but whether that really means the US can sustain or not sustain, I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. And since I don't have to deal with it every day because I don't live in California or Texas or Florida or so on, I mean, it's like out of all the issues that, we can care about, for me, it's not on the top level. So,
okay. Kevin, why are you not concerned about the situation there?
Maybe it's privilege. I do live in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, so I'm not directly impacted by the southern borders. I think the only concerning thing would be on how ICE and Border Patrol has treated the people. And obviously, immigrants coming into the States is seen as invasion. And then we have the discriminatory just statements that we have against immigrants. And yeah, the treatment of immigrants is what worries me because ICE is not good.
Okay, got it. So I'd like to know who you think would do a better job handling the situation at the border, Trump or Harris?
Neither.
So by a show of fingers, who would say Trump? None of you. Who would say Harris? One of you. So the other three of you think what?
I don't know how Harris would handle it.
Right. We don't have nothing out of herself saying that she would do something. She's saying what the party would do, but she's not saying what she would do. So I can't give an opinion on who would do better there. I can't.
Okay. So just to be clear, Denise, Kevin, Maddie, you have no idea what she would do with the border.
I think she would just reinforce it like Trump, and nothing will change about that. I mean,
I know she was supposed to be doing things with the border as vice president, and I don't feel like she did anything.
Okay. Joshua, why do you think Harris would do a better job?
Because I think Trump had his chance. He had a supermajority in Congress, still didn't really get much done on the border. It was really COVID that kind of shut down the flow, so to speak. And I think Harris has a better chance if she's the Democratic candidate and there's a Democratic majority in Congress. The Democrats just try to pass legislation on immigration overall earlier this year, late last year, I forget the timeline, and the Republicans kind of killed it. So if there's a chance she's president, there's a more likely chance that actually goes through and gets passed. I don't know though. It's always been a difficult issue in the past decades. So
Mhm.
I just think she has a slightly better chance than Trump.
Okay. So I'd like to know among the four of you, who do you think would treat migrants more humanely? Trump or Harris? Between the two, who would treat the migrants more humanely? Trump or Harris? So by a show of fingers, who would say Trump would handle the migrants more humanely? None of you. Who would say that Harris would? Two of you. Okay. So Denise, what leads you to think that Harris would handle them more humanely, even though you're not sure who would do a better job overall?
I think Trump's track record just makes me hope that that Harris would.
Trump describe that to me. What do you mean by Trump's track record?
Just the they weren't called detention camps, but the places where the women and the children were taken and they didn't have adequate like blankets and things, and then children were taken away from their parents.
Okay.
It was chaos.
So Denise, from your perspective, you think Harris would not allow that to happen?
Yes.
Okay. Got it.
I hope she would have learned from what was already done.
Got it. I'm sorry, say that last part again.
I said I would hope that she would have learned from what was done in the past.
What happened under Trump, you mean?
Yes.
Okay. Kevin, you don't think that Harris would handle the migrants more humanely than Trump?
No. She was a prosecutor in Cali, and even used like Cali prisoners to do free labor for her for the fires. I mean, she wants to increase funding for the Border Patrol. You know, she has already made her stance on how she views immigration. So yeah, no.
Okay, got it. By the way, what you just said about how immigrants were used, where did you hear that information?
Oh, the prisoners in Cali? I think that I heard that like a few years ago.
Okay, were those immigrants?
They were prisoners.
Okay, but it's how she handled. What leads you to think about the way she would deal with immigrants because of how she dealt with prisoners?
The criminal justice system. It's all related.
So hold on a second. So immigrants who come across the border undocumented,
Mm-hmm.
you see them in the same category as prisoners?
In some ways, they are prisoners.
Okay.
Not in the sense that we like the people are making them prisoners. It's the system that makes them prisoners. Once they come to the US, they don't have the resources to really take care of themselves, like federal funding, benefits.
Okay, got it. Thank you. So when it comes to policy, there's a long-standing debate over whether we need to prioritize securing the border or dealing with the millions of undocumented immigrants already in the US. So while you may think that both steps are vital, securing the border and dealing with the millions of undocumented immigrants, who says that securing the border is the higher priority? Maddie does. And who says dealing with those who are undocumented is the higher priority? Three of you. All right. So next, Cindy's going to do something. She's going to put on screen a video clip from Harris about immigration. And then she's going to put on screen a social media post from Trump. After you view both, I want to ask you about them. Cindy, please go ahead and play the clip from Harris. This is from her speech at the Democratic Convention last week.
Last year, Joe and I brought together Democrats and conservative Republicans to write the strongest border bill in decades. The Border Patrol endorsed it. But Donald Trump believes a border deal would hurt his campaign. So he ordered his allies in Congress to kill the deal. Well, I refuse to play politics with our security. And here is my pledge to you. As president, I will bring back the bipartisan border security bill that he killed, and I will sign it into law. I know we can live up to our proud heritage as a nation of immigrants and reform our broken immigration system. We can create an earned pathway to citizenship and secure our border.
Okay. And then Trump responded with this post. The border bill is one of the worst ever written, would have allowed millions of people into our country, and it's only a political ploy by her. It legalizes illegal immigration and is a total disaster, weak and ineffective. She doesn't need a bill. As president, crooked Joe and her could have just said, close the border, like I did. I didn't have a bill. I didn't need a bill. The Border Patrol respected me. They did their job. We had the safest border in recorded history. Exclamation point. Okay. So between those two arguments that you just heard, I'd like to know who has the better one, Trump or Harris? By a show of fingers, who says Trump? Maddie does. The other three of you say Harris? Show of fingers, who would say Harris has the better argument there? Three of you. Maddie, why is Trump's argument better?
We do need a better control on these immigration, but we need to revamp our immigration laws. These things are having these people to wait 5 years to become a citizen. I understand that there's protocols. It's a wonderful thing. The work visas, all that is great, good and dandy. But what's up with these people that come from other countries and get the $25,000 grants to go open a business or go get a house? We've been living here all our lives and we barely get food stamps.
Got it. Okay. Denise, why is Harris's argument better?
Honestly, because I did not have time to fact check Trump's.
Okay, but why does it sound better?
It sounded more eloquent.
Okay, set aside the eloquence. You know how she speaks, you know how he speaks. Why is her argument better?
Because it addressed things like needing how people would get a path to citizenship. It addressed with a little bit of what people are already doing here and what we would do if we brought them in or if they came in.
Okay. Kevin, why is Harris's argument better?
She just, I really don't know. I just picked her because Trump's way of speaking was very antagonistic. That's really it, but I don't agree with Harris. What she said, I don't think it was a good argument.
Okay, wait, hold on a second. So when she's calling for a bipartisan deal that Trump, that she said blew up, why isn't that a better argument than what Trump is saying?
Because I was reading about the bill, and the bill it includes to build more border barriers, expand detention facilities, you know, hire more ICE folks, you know, to secure the border, I just don't think there's a problem with immigration, is what I'm saying.
Okay, so there isn't a problem with immigration.
No,
So the millions and millions of undocumented people who came into the United States during Biden's term, that's not a problem to you.
it's not a problem. I mean, this is America, right? The land of the free.
Okay.
Everyone can come here.
So just let me just pose a hypothetical so I understand your thinking on this.
Yeah.
Let's say half of the people in Mexico, tens of millions of people decided tomorrow to just come across the border. We shouldn't deter them in any way?
That's a hypothetical, but yes, we shouldn't deter them.
Okay. So let's say everybody in the entire world wanted to come and live in the United States, all 8 billion people. You wouldn't stop them?
No, because that is a hypothetical. I don't think 8 billion people are gonna come to the States.
I guess what I'm trying to ask him, just to understand your thinking about this, is that at what point is it a problem for people coming here? I'm talking about without having proper documentation. Coming
Yeah.
across because they feel like coming across.
Yeah. Okay.
So
I don't
what-
have a problem with that. I mean, I come from an undocumented mother who came here for the purpose of building her life. And a lot of people do come from those places where they want to escape wars or they want to live a better life in the US. And because the people in the society talks about the American dream, that you're going to be the nuclear family with kids and housing and food and all these resources. So yes, of course, people are coming in to have a better life. So when we start enforcing immigration laws, we just make it harder for people to even get those benefits.
Got it.
My mom, for example, has lived here for 15 years. She's barely getting her citizenship, and it's taking her this long.
Got it.
Yeah.
Thank you for letting me push back, by the way. I know I'm asking a lot of follow-up questions.
No, it's good. I like this. Yeah.
Wait, no, my job is to be devil's advocate, so thank you for letting me do it. By a show of fingers, who's concerned about the situation at America's southern border? Who's concerned about the situation at America's southern border? Show of fingers. Hold on a second. Andreas, are you or are you not?
I think yes, but probably not in the way that one would typically think.
Okay, it's all right.
That one thinks when one thinks about this issue. I think there's a humanitarian crisis at the border. I don't think there's a security crisis at the border.
Okay, fair enough. So you are concerned about okay, that's fine. So 3 of you are concerned about the situation at the border. For Andreas, it's about the humanitarian crisis. Yvonne, tell me what's concerning to you.
What's concerning to me is who is coming over, what is their health status, and why would they cross and get in before people who have filed to come in a legal way? Why are they jumping the line?
Okay, got it. And the other person was, I'm sorry, Gloria. What's concerning to you?
Pretty much the same reason as Yvonne. Like I mean, it's not just like Central Americans, South Americans, and Mexicans that are coming over. It's other people from like Liberia and from other countries that are using that southern border as a weak spot to get into the U.S. Who knows, what their intention is? Like it's bringing crime. It's just bad. It's bad.
Okay. So for the 5 of you, I'd like to know who you think would do a better job handling the situation at the southern border, Trump or Harris? So by a show of fingers, who would say Trump would do a better job at the border? Gloria and Yvonne. Who would say Harris? Victor and Andreas. And Cecilia, what about you?
I think I'm torn after listening to the previous question. So in regards to preventing or working on building the wall to try to prevent immigrants would be Trump. But in regards to being more compassionate would be Harrison. So, or Harris. So, depending on what you mean by your question.
Got it. Okay. I will note it as you said it, which is that you're split. Okay. Yvonne, why do you think Trump would do a better job at the border?
Because he was fairly successful during his first term. And the first thing that happened when Biden came in was that he did an executive order to eliminate the wall and whatnot. And I'm not saying there needs to be a wall, but there has to be a process for people coming in legally into this country. And I think he has a precedent for doing that. And I think he sees it as an urgent matter right now.
Okay. Got it. Gloria, why do you think Trump would do a better job?
I think he did a pretty decent job of keeping it under control. I think he had some additional ideas that he just couldn't get some support on that I think, you know, maybe he'll get a little bit more traction on this time around. Maybe it'll have more of an impact.
Okay. Victor, why do you think Harris would do a better job?
Well, because she's not gonna do what the ex-president do. She's not gonna treat kids like animals and put it in a cage and split it from the parent and deport the parent and leave the kids here. Some of the kids got lost, never got together with the parent because of that.
Okay. I'd like to know who you think would treat migrants more humanely, Trump or Biden. By a show of fingers, who would say Trump would treat them more humanely? None of you. Who would say Harris would treat them more humanely? 4 of you. And Yvonne?
I'm split because is humanely just letting them pour in and have no place to live, not have jobs, not to have a quality of life, just coming to the United States to sleep on the sidewalks? That's not humane either.
Okay, but hold on a second. So why didn't you say Trump would treat them more humanely?
Well, I think what the definition of humanely is he going to give them hotel rooms and every service, medical care, licenses? I don't think he's going to do that. I think he's going to try to deport probably people with criminal backgrounds first.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree with that. We have enough criminals in our own country.
Okay. So when it comes to policy, there's been a long-standing debate in our country over whether we need to prioritize securing the border or dealing with the millions of undocumented immigrants already in the US. While you may think that both steps are vital, by a show of fingers, who says securing the border is the higher priority? Have Gloria, anybody else? Okay. The other 4 of you would say that dealing with the undocumented is the higher priority? Is that fair?
I wonder about the premise of the question. Dealing with is little.
Well, trying to
is a very wishy-washy term.
Yeah, Andres, it's a fair comment. It's the broad stroke conversation about dealing with the problem of people coming in and the people who are already here. That's the dichotomy for the sake of the question I'm asking. So it sounds as though, so Andreas, for you, which is the thing that is the higher priority?
To take a broad view of the term dealing with, I think there probably ought to be some kind of solution for people who are already here.
Okay.
And I think that's more important.
Got it. Okay.
I don't think that means deporting them out of hand by any means.
Yeah, no. It's where you put the priority of your attention and your focus, no matter how you're going to resolve it. That's the intention with my question. Okay. So 4 of you would, the higher priority is dealing with the undocumented that's the higher priority. Okay. So next, Cindy's going to play a video clip from Vice President Harris from her acceptance speech last week at the Democratic Convention about immigration. Then she's going to show a social media statement from Trump reacting to that statement. And I want to talk about both after you see both. Go ahead, Cindy.
Last year, Joe and I brought together Democrats and conservative Republicans to write the strongest border bill in decades. The Border Patrol endorsed it. But Donald Trump believes a border deal would hurt his campaign. So he ordered his allies in Congress to kill the deal. Well, I refuse to play politics with our security, and here is my pledge to you. As president, I will bring back the bipartisan border security bill that he killed, and I will sign it into law. I know we can live up to our proud heritage as a nation of immigrants and reform our broken immigration system. We can create an earned pathway to citizenship and secure our border.
Okay, so that was her statement on immigration last week. And then Trump responded with the following. The border bill is one of the worst ever written, would have allowed millions of people into our country, and it's only a political ploy by her. It legalizes illegal immigration and is a total disaster, weak and ineffective. She doesn't need a bill. As president, Crooked Joe and her could have just said, close the border, like I did. I didn't have a bill. I didn't need a bill. The Border Patrol respected me. They did their job. We had the safest border in recorded history. Exclamation point. Okay. So between the two arguments you just heard, hers and then his, I'd like to know who you think has the better argument, Trump or Harris? So by a show of fingers, who says Trump has the better argument between the two? 3 women. Yeah, 2 of you think Harris?
Yes.
Andreas and Victor, okay. Cecilia, why is Trump's argument better?
I think when we look at what I saw through what I've read and the news is that I've heard is that during his time, the borders were considered more secure, that there were more numbers, that the numbers backed up his statement. And I really don't know what that bill looked like. I don't recall hearing it in regards to Biden and her proposal. So I can't support something I don't know anything about, but there was a fact checked related to his numbers when he was president.
Okay. Gloria, why is Trump's argument better?
I don't know. I feel like Biden and Harris, they're just paying, I don't know, they're saying honeyed words and there's nothing behind it. It's like they live in some utopian ideal of what it should look like, but you need to focus on stopping the bleeding before you can clean the wound.
Okay. Well, let me play devil's advocate with you just for a second. So Harris made this point that there was a bipartisan deal negotiated in Congress. It had some very conservative Republicans on board as well as Democrats. And basically Trump told the Republicans to stand down in the Senate. And that the argument was, if you get something done bipartisan with Biden in charge, that's just going to help Biden. It's going to hurt me getting reelected. Does that trouble you at all that Trump did that? Or that at least the way she describes it, that's what happened?
I don't know if I believe her. I think it's just politics. And I think she's just putting it out there just to discredit him. I don't know if I believe her, but I don't know. I guess I don't know if I believe her. I don't know if I think I can maybe believe that he might have done something like that, but there's a part of me that really hopes that he didn't, right? So I don't know who to believe in this instance. I think it's just finger pointing.
Okay, because basically he acknowledged that he deliberately spiked it. He did it for political reasons.
So he himself acknowledged that?
Yes. Well, he basically, even in what you just said, you heard him say that he thought the bill wasn't necessary. Biden could have done this without him. But there was a bipartisan deal negotiated in the Senate. And Trump specifically told Republicans to stand down. So does that change your mind at all? Like, if you knew more about what Trump had done to get rid of a bipartisan deal in Congress, would that trouble you? Or is it like you want Trump and this is what Trump does and he probably could negotiate something better? So it's great that he decided to spike it. Like, how do you think through that?
Yeah, that's a good question. Oh my gosh, I don't know. I mean, I think he's capable of getting things done. I think if he like has the connections, and the network, built up to get something done, then he will wield it in both positive and negative ways. And this is probably possibly one of those negative times, right? I don't know.
Okay. All right. Andreas, why is Harris's argument better?
I'm not going to say I love the border bill that was negotiated, but like given the facts that you have stated, Harris is basically presenting a factual recounting of the history of that bill and then making a commitment to submit it again. That's a pretty standard kind of, here's what happened, here's my promise. Whereas Trump's tweet as a response is basically like, so's your face. That is the level of rhetoric that was in that tweet. It was like, nuh-uh. And there was no substance there wasn't really an argument against Harris's proposal as much as like you stink, I would be better at it.
But wait, hold on a second, Andreas. One could say that he's making his case is, you don't need this bill. I got a lot of stuff done when I was president. So it's fine if I tanked what the Congress did. It would be worse than what I would get done if you elect me again. What's wrong with that argument?
Well, there is the questionable and not fully tested legal support for executive actions, which is a little too nerdy to get into. I'm not sure I necessarily agree in broad strokes with the premise that, just because he's the president, he could say it and the Border Patrol is supposed to act, that necessarily makes it is a more grounded and defensible government policy than something codified into law.
Okay, got it. Victor, why is Harris's argument better?
Well, I think that she have a facts, and what Donald Trump is saying, that's the way he conduct himself, that he like to push people around and make them do whatever he want. He don't care he's gonna be in benefit of the people. If he don't see no benefit for him, it's not good. That's what I think.
Okay. So all of you in this session are from Hispanic or Latino backgrounds. By a show of fingers, who feels as though the Harris campaign is paying a lot of attention to you and the Hispanic community in your state? I'll take that as none of you. Okay. By a show of fingers, who feels as though the Trump campaign is paying a lot of attention to you and the Hispanic community in your state? Yvonne. Yvonne, in what way?
Well, he's come at least 4 times within, I'd say 2 months, 2.5 months, and he's met with rallies with the Hispanic community, and he's been meeting with different groups. So he's definitely interested, and I understand why. I mean, there are a lot of Latinos in Arizona.
Got it.